Hello, this is the lecture for Unit 13, Submission. After you click Send and submit your materials to an editor, publisher, or conference organizer, you may have mixed thoughts about the whole experience. You may feel anxious that you did something wrong or made some obvious mistake. You may feel impatient to hear back, or you may want to forget about the whole ordeal. However you feel, there are a few things you should bear in mind. The nice thing about submitting your work for publication is that it is now out of your hands. Someone else will like it and decide to accept it, or they will not like it and turn it down. The motives that lead a publisher or editor to say yes to one proposal and to say no to another tend to be much more arbitrary than is ordinarily assumed. Sometimes a publisher accepts a piece just because they need content to fill a slot, or they turn it down because the slots have already been filled. The selection process may be biased by nepotism, the personal preferences and fickle moods of an individual reviewer, and by sheer chance. A piece that is rejected by one editor will often be enthusiastically embraced by a different editor. Whatever happens after you press send is not up to you, and the response you get does not say anything definitive about the merits of your submission. For some writers, pressing send to submit a piece of writing for publication feels like kind of a liberation. A writing project is so existentially involved that it can consume a writer's entire mind. Falling under this kind of spell can be a wonderful, exhilarating experience for a writer, but can also be a little tiring and all-consuming. As constructive and stimulating as this kind of intellectual immersion can be, it comes with its own kind of blinders and perceptual limitations. When you are immersed in the spell, it is hard to get a sense of what exactly it is that you are immersed in. Sending off a publication proposal can be a way of breaking the spell, at least temporarily, which can both free up your mind for other projects and also allow you to gather a fresh appreciation for what the completed project has meant. When you return to the research project at some later point, for instance if the editor accepts your work for publication but requests some revisions, you will be able to do so with a renewed perspective. It's never too early to start thinking about what's next. Some writers feel a pang of postpartum depression after submitting a piece for publication, and a good way of coping with this feeling is to start planning out the next writing project. Think about how you can use the project you have just completed as the first chapter of a more intensive or expansive research agenda. You might return to questions that you put aside previously, or articulate new questions based on the research you have already done. We will talk more about this in the final week, but the period of time during which you say goodbye to one writing project is an excellent time to gather new ideas for the next one. In any event, whatever the fate of your submitted piece turns out to be, you should feel an enormous sense of accomplishment. Preparing work for professional presentation and publication is one of the most rigorous and demanding intellectual tasks that human beings can undertake, and the fact that you were able to successfully accomplish this task constitutes an affirmation of your imaginative and critical energies. Most importantly, if you can do it once, you can do it 100 times, again and again, over the course of your career. Sometimes you will strike out, and sometimes you will strike gold, but either way, you will be learning more about yourself, your profession, and the intellectual questions that motivate and inspire you.